On behalf of the Nightborn, I accept your proposal. From this day forth, Suramar fights for the Horde.
Ladies and gents, put your wallets down. Relax. Relax. Let's all take a breath. We've got a lot to work through here. Good God almighty. In a Q&A that barely said anything, the few things that were said was so good that we need to talk about this. And also, just relax on buying Battle for Azeroth right now because the backlog is enormous. I'm seeing screenshots flying around of people in the queue for 20,000 plus people trying to buy the game. And also reports now coming in from my friends who have I've been charged multiple times for the game once it finally went through because they were spamming it so hard that multiple times it's been charged and they're going to have to... Obviously, it's going to get fixed. That's fine. It's going to get fixed. You can't upgrade the same account multiple times. But just take a chill. Unless you're actually going to be leveling in the next 20 minutes, right? Or something like that. Just take a chill, relax, wait till the system's all unclogged. I wouldn't even be surprised to see Blizzard close it down just temporarily as people are being charged multiple times for the game. But needless to say, what was touted as a Q&A was actually the... Okay, Battle for Azeroth pre-order is now open. This is when we want the game out. And also, the allied races are now available. That's pretty much what we're here to tell you. Go to it. Then we'll answer some fluff questions along the back of that. But that's pretty much what we're doing. It was really awesome to see how they did this. So if you were at work or you were asleep or whatever, this is how this went down. In the UK, the Q&A was scheduled for 8 p.m. At 7:30 p.m., Legion's price dropped by 50%. They went on sale on the Blizzard shop for 50%. Then at 7:45, right, all the artwork on the Battle.net launcher for Warcraft changed to the Battle for Azeroth stuff, right? The artwork all changed from Legion to Battle for Azeroth. And then at 7:55, the game went on sale. Battle for Azeroth went on pre-order sale. And I was lucky enough to be getting spammed by people all over. So thank you to you guys who were like, it's available, just refresh, it's available. And the first 2 times I refreshed, it wasn't there. Then I refreshed again, it was there, Battle for Azeroth. So I managed to get mine. I got my collector's edition really just before, 2 or 3 minutes before the Q&A started. I managed to get mine. Ironically, and I have to give shout-outs here because hopefully we can give this away, is about 2 minutes after that, Blizzard emailed me to say, hey, we're going to send you a copy of Battle for Azeroth with all this, thank you so much for the last year, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, man, that's really nice of you. I've kind of already bought it and I'm doing the Allied Races quest chain already, but thank you anyway. I don't mind buying my copy, so I'm going to contact them to see if I can get the code. Probably can't, but if I can, then maybe we'll have a collector's edition to give away. But thank you, Blizzard, for that anyway. I appreciate that very much. Moving on then, we found out the direction we're going with the game. Finally we've got something, because we've been guessing based on what we've been doing, obviously on the web shows and in our recent videos, is kind of looking at what the talents tell us about the direction it's going. What are these data mined pieces of info? What are the conversations we've seen about Battle for Azeroth? What do those mean for where the game is going direction-wise? And now we have something in stone. So the first thing I want to address, we will talk about some little things, sure, but the big thing that got me is Ian sitting there and finally saying, look, bring the player, not the class, is a fucking buzz phrase, a catchphrase that was spawned 10 or 12 years ago that people use to this day, and they nearly all use it in completely the wrong way. Forget that. And he just bluntly sat there and said, you know what? Yeah, sometimes you should bring certain classes to your raid, because trying to think of bring the player, not the class, as I can bring a raid that's consisting of 90% warriors and a couple of healers, my raid should work, doesn't work for the game. It doesn't work. So yeah, and his example was, if you've got a raid with loads of mages and loads of hunters and 0 warlocks, and your next 3 spots who are asking to get into your group are mage, hunter, warlock, there should be just a good reason to bring a warlock and not just bring another mage, right? That's the way it should be. So they're finally going to stomp all over that, and finally we can get some more class uniqueness back. Finally, because there's only one way homogenizing all the classes ends. It ends with everybody having basically the same spell. It hits basically the same damage. That's no fun. It's not interesting. And it certainly is not a fantasy game I want to be a part of. No, thank you. I want some class uniqueness. I want some group buffs back. I want to be excited to have certain people in my group and certain specs. And I want to feel more powerful in a group of my friends. And I also want to be thinking, what can we bring here? What can we move around? What can we shift around? Do we have to take different talent setups? Blizzard hopefully has balanced them and done all kinds of things. And ultimately, what we have to remember here is bring the player, not the class. Has never really worked. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. And I'm sure Blizzard has sat down and gone, it doesn't matter how close we get the damage. Because in Legion, they have done tremendously well with getting the damage across most of the most specs. Pretty close. Pretty damn close in nearly all scenarios. Pretty damn close. And still, people will favor the one that's slightly ahead, even if it's not relevant. People will naturally draw themselves to which, if every class is worth 9, but there's one that's worth 10, people want the 10. It's as simple as that. So why not embrace it, bring some uniqueness back in, and have some fun with it, and make the class, and then do some more interesting, creative things with the with the classes, rather than thinking, well, we can't really do that because, you know, we have to account for the fact that some guild might not have a shaman, or they might not have a demon hunter, so we can't really do that. That's not really fun. Look, if you're going into big group warfare, certainly if you're doing 10 plus people, there should be, you should be able to field somebody from a certain spec. And as long as the utility is kind of spread out, which is what they're doing, they're not going anywhere near what they did in TBC with Bloodlust. As long as utility is kind of overlapping, it should be fine. And they're pretty confident that we're not going to go back to how the game was that far ago, because it was a decade ago. The game is way different now. It's not going to be the same thing. So happy to see Ian just be like, no, sometimes, yeah, you should bring the class. You shouldn't just be trying to stack blah, 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 blah. That's not the way you should go. But the way we're going to do it is by making the specs interesting, and they're bringing, everybody's got something kind of cool that you would want to bring, and not something that if you ditch it on the side, it doesn't really matter. So I thought that was super awesome. And they also said it very specifically, it's like encounter design will create situations that make tools available, which is what they've kind of done in Legion. Even when we had crazy Surrender to Madness priests, the way the fights work doesn't allow you to stack like 18 surrender priests or whatever. It doesn't allow that because it needs the tools that are on offer by all the different classes and specs. You can't just stack one thing. So for those of you who think, oh my God, everyone's just going to play the most overpowered class, I really don't think so. I've got good faith in this one that they're not going to go that way. So I think that's pretty cool. They touched on the Titan forging weapons. So this has been a big one amongst our community, is, are they going to allow weapons in Battle for Azeroth Titan Forge? So let's put the situation in context. Our artifact weapons are going away. We know that. We know that we're going to be replacing them with a necklace, the Azerite necklace, and therefore weapons are going to drop again. Now, note that a big part of this is, one, some variety from Legion, so it's not all the same. We just get a new artifact weapon each expansion. Also, the guys not being hampered creatively by having to stick to kind of the same sort of theme when making weapons. There's, we've made a lot of Ashbringers. So can we have something slightly different to play with? Specifically when we're going into new raids, we've got all these raids and all these environments that are completely separate and they have their own wonderful theme. I want to make weapons based around that theme that looks like what would be used in that environment. Can't really do that with artifact stuff. But the question is the Titan forging system, because that is staying, but not for all pieces. So Azerite armor, which is a new feature of Battle for Azeroth, that cannot Warforge or Titan Forge in any way, shape, or form. That will come as a drop, and then within that is a very set amount of bonuses that you can unlock with your, basically, new artifact power, the Azerite power that we're going to be gaining. But anything that isn't Azerite slots, which so far aren't 100% confirmed, but we now do know weapons are not Azerite slot, which is what we were kind of hoping for. A lot of us were hoping that weapons would be Azerite weapons, which means they couldn't Warforge or Titan Forge, and the bonuses they give would be very predictable, and they would be something that we know about in advance. Doesn't look like that's the case. What they have said is that weapons will not Titan Forge. They will not Titan Forge, which is a very big deal because once weapons start dropping again, having weapons that can be significantly better quality for a lot of classes is a very big deal. A very big deal. At least with the relic system, you're never too far behind. But with the Warforged Titan Forge system, that's totally out of your control. Now, they will be able to Warforge, which means they can be better, but not so much better. Personally, I kind of wish they had just said that the weapons are Azerite weapons. That would have been better for me. So it just eliminates all of it. But that's not what they're doing. That's not what they're doing. They are aiming so that they can Warforge. They cannot Titan Forge. That is what the plan is right now. And I should reiterate here, of course, this is before we've even got into the beta. So this might change. But they are... One thing I am happy about is that they are aware that if weapons can Titan Forge, that's a big problem for game balance. That is a massive problem. Certainly if we look at the way Legion is now with things that are like... What did the original world bosses drop? Is it like 860? I think it was about 860 off the top of my head. And that can go all the way up to like 980, 85. Like that sort of range and gap would be it would be a very bad world. A very, very bad world. So I kind of wish they'd gone with Azerite weapons. They've gone with with Warforging only, but not Titan Forging. So that's very cool. Other than that, I was interested, like, there's a few fluffy things we'll talk about, but Survival Hunter, as we know, we've seen from the new Datamine talents, is getting a decent rework, although it looks like it's going very much exactly the same as Beast Mastery, so I'll be interested to see where that finally ends up. But no mention of demonology that I heard while I was listening to it. So kind of interested to see where that's going to go, because a lot of people, especially the Warlock community, hoping for some things on demonology. Now, with the allied races, so a few questions here. I'll link you to the MMO Champ post, which usually does a summary and all these things. I logged in and was very surprised with the allied races not to have my 4 extra character slots. Because as you can imagine, my realm is full of characters. I have got them all. So I would really, really have liked to have seen that. That is not what has happened, unfortunately. But they have addressed that in the next few days, we will get our extra character slots on the realms. They're going to keep the limit at 50, so you can only have 50 characters total still. But they are going to up the character slot limit on the realms. So that's just going to take a couple of days. Why they didn't sort it out to happen at exactly the same time, I don't know. I don't know why that happened. And for any of you who are looking at this before you've managed to pre-order Battle for Azeroth, the way you get your new allied races is once you log in and you've pre-purchased Battle for Azeroth, you will be able to, you'll get a quest straight away to go to your home city, so to Orgrimmar or Stormwind, I presume, is the Alliance one, and you'll get a quest, and you have to do a quest line for each of them. That's what I'm showing you in the background, and from there, you will unlock the ability to create your allied races. So that is all working and everything is fine. Other than that, that was pretty much what I was interested that came out of this. We now know that September 21st is what they're looking at for Battle for Azeroth. But right now, some good stuff. Really excited about the bring the player, not the class thing finally being kind of squashed and then being a statement there that's like, look, you should want to bring over it. The solution to bring the player, not the class is we should make you want to have them in there. Give you reason, and give each of the classes something cool that makes you want to have them. It's as simple as that. Ladies and gentlemen, Battles for Azeroth is on the horizon. Beta, hopefully soon. Bye-bye.